Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. The previous session with a failed new high and a big move to become an outside day. Down just before the close, it did bounce, but a heavy sell-off, super high range day, over 200% of ADR. We knew Friday that the lower value relationship for the new month with regards to the monthly pivot range would be an opportunity for bears to defend into that strength for a shot at pushing this thing downward, but it kind of all played out in one day, and now we're seeing additional weakness here in pre-market trading. Overnight trading was mostly sideways, pre-market down, and now we're trading prices below the previous session's low. Very strong low at those levels the previous day here, with a big strong bounce into the end of the day. But right now, keeping an eye on that previous session's low. A rejection of that level could lead to a bounce back up within the range, back toward 58.80, for example. A failure in this area, and you're starting to open up that 5,700 zone of support down below. 5,700, as we talked about, is the naked FOMC key level from September 18th. So this day right there, we have not tested it since then, and we've missed out on a couple of shots to hit it here, and we just haven't. Maybe this is the shot to finally go fill that target, 5,700 there. That would also take us into the previous quarter's low price as well, and would take us below the 200-day moving average. That could be an opportunity right there where bulls look to defend and return this thing back up. A failure here, and you're starting to really open up that 5,400 lower market structure level below. So some big time levels here to keep an eye on, starting with the previous session's low. A failure to hold that level, and we're looking at more downside ahead. All right, looking at the NQ. The NQ, big time failed new high as well in the previous session. Big rotation to the downside and became an outside day before the late day bounce. This thing also hit the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average for the first time in a long while. The last couple of times price hit it, it was here, and we saw big time rotations off of it. That level has been bid this entire time for a good while now. If you look back here, it goes all the way into the beginning here of 2023. So big time rotations off this level within the uptrend. We're at it now. We're below it now. So how much more do we go to the downside? To begin the year, we were looking for a move that would take us right here into that zone, and that would be the previous quarter's low, and it would also be a rising 200-day. A couple of other targets in that zone, including the 100% key range target just below that. So that was a zone that we were looking for early in the year for a rotation back up. Well, we haven't gotten it yet. So now, on the way down, that could provide the next opportunity to trap and bring it back up the range, like we've already done for quite some time. Now a failure at 19.5, and that starts to open up another 1 or 2,000 point decline into the previous market structure below that. So big time support coming up. But again, today, keep an eye on the previous session's low, a rejection of those levels, and we could see a little modest bounce back up. Failure to hold that level, and you're opening up additional weakness ahead. This market continues to be run by the bears, especially in the short term. And we mentioned before, coming up to the zone up here, we need to be wary of any potential rejection in that area, because it could open up a move across the range. We've now gotten that complete move all the way across to our targets, and now we're starting to test levels that could open up the next zone below. So still very bearish here in the near term. Any bounce could still be seen as a selling opportunity for this market, especially with tariffs as the major headline risk currently out in the market. All right, looking at crude oil. Crude down 1.24% right now, downward trending market. If you'll notice right here, these are G squat days here, very bearish there. high range days with a ton of volume there, and for the most part they've been pointing down ever since, and this day right there, that's inauguration day. Ever since then, very, very bearish flow for this market. We got sideways here for a little while and got stuck around VPOC, but eventually broke down here, failed new high yesterday. So this market continues to work its way down, and we've noted this for a while now, that 66 to 67 has been our target. I've said it enough here. Today's low, 67.09. 66 would be right in here. Of course, you have that 66.54. That's a key range low. Very, very significant level there, and that key range low has not been tested since its development. So there it is right there, 66.34. We've just missed it multiple times coming into that level. So the next bounce could be a 1 or 2 day bounce, could be a selling opportunity for a drop into that level. And then do we get lower? 64, for example, in that zone. Once we get to the 64s, that is critical support and must hold. Otherwise, we see more downside that could take us into the 50s. So this is a big time area of support here. You got a medium term area right here that's been big, especially in Q4 of last year. Again, still trending downward, especially intraday, but any bounce, 1 day, 2 day bounce, could still be a selling opportunity as this thing continues to work its way down. Looking at gold futures here, you'll notice with gold, this thing had been very, very bullish here overall, but did get its biggest pullback on a 3-4 day basis that it's had in a while, since basically Q4 of last year. And the idea with this was 2880 was going to be the big level to watch here. Can it hold that level? If so, we have a shot to run back to the highs and perhaps even get that 3000 target finally. And so the last couple of days, very strong, very bullish here, and continuing to remain within the uptrending market. And this has been among the strongest, if not the strongest, futures contract here, and continues to remain very bullish here, especially in the face of weakness out of the broader equities. So more upside here that could take us at the very least to retest the highs at 29.74, but also potentially into 3,000 up above. All right, looking at the YM, this market right here, very bearish here lately. Big time continuation to the downside, rounded top and a breakthrough the 44,000 level. And then we have this expanding range here that's developed, and that big rejection right here, retesting 44K from below. And the idea was a rejection here would open up a move back toward recent support. That's 42K. 42K is that recent support right there. 41,967, perhaps to be exact there, but you also have the previous low a little bit lower. So right in that zone is the next major area of support below. We have this large trading range that is developed here. You have the midline somewhere in this zone here. Rounded tops here developing, very similar price action here lately. We're looking for a continuation across the range toward the lower edge of support here, and at that point perhaps we get that bounce back back toward the center of the range, maybe back toward the high. So right now still showing weakness here, failed new high in the previous session, with a shot to continue to see weakness here. Today could be a digestive day, back and forth with a downward bias, and the potential to see somewhere between 41,750 and 42,000. All right, looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin here with a huge gap up, news-related gap up there, but was not able to hold those gains. This thing was up 10-12% at the open. A lot of crypto-related stocks were up as well, and slowly but steadily throughout the day this thing gave it back, filling the gap all the way back down, and now looking like a pretty aggressive rounded top with a lower high now on a retest. is that going to open up more weakness ahead? How weak can this thing get? Because this right here looked the part for at least a short-term day one rejection. It looked the part, and the thought was that we could bounce back toward 100K, at least in the short term. And of course we gap up and open at 95K the very next day, but fill it back down. So that's not a very good path forward here after that strong rejection. The midpoint of that rejection day is very important as well. Any failure through that level, which is 82,200. 82,200, you start to fail through that on a daily closing basis, and you're opening up more weakness below. So big time potential continuation. This market cannot find its footing right now, especially after being gifted a huge gap up. This thing fills right back down. So keeping an eye on the midpoint of the rejection day. Looking at Ethereum, ETH has hit new lows as well. This one also had a good day one rejection. Good enough day one rejection off the 2100 level. This one was gifted a very strong headline risk related gap up. Was not able to maintain those levels, quickly filled and then some. And then we hit new lows here today, just above the 2000 level. 2000, 2200 in general, right there, that zone, very, very significant here. Critical support for this market. A failure in this area, and you're opening up a rotation back towards 1600. So this is big time right here, and its ability to hold now that we've reached the 100% target. That key range right there, the 100% target is right here, and we finally hit it today. We're right at it at the moment. Now do we begin a bounce back pass? Back toward 3107, that's the bottom of that key range, and then maybe across the way to the recent high 4136. So big time level here. Can it hold? We'll see if it can hold, but again, like Bitcoin, this one's been out of favor here lately, but we are at critical support, which may offer a much better value opportunity. From these levels, just to get back to recent highs is a double. So that's a big time opportunity here from a longer term basis. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.